Looks like you've got the first two items.
Okay, I'm going to skip to the second one. Savas is going to be joining us. I'm going to start by welcoming Alexander to the team. He started last Monday. Alexander, do you want to tell us a couple of things about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Alexander. You already said I started last Monday. I'm working from Denver. I'm super excited to be here. My previous position was at PIX Systems, which is software for the film industry, which was pretty interesting, but this is more interesting. I used GitLab there. I love the product and I love the community, so I'm excited to be here. Here in Denver, it is sunny. It rained yesterday, which is weird for the winter, but it's going to make like hiking a lot easier, but rock climbing a lot harder. So dealing with that.
Welcome.
Alexander, could you pronounce your last name for us? I have to admit, I just said Alexander because I didn't want to say it wrong.
Nice. Oh, I should have picked up on that. Turinsky.
Cool. We're excited to have you here. And Wayne, do you want to take item 3? I know Savas is joining. He'll be here in a second, so let's wait for him to get.
So Alan, you want to do a quick introduction, where you were before, why you wanted to join the team, where you're located, and what you like to do outside of work?
Sure. Yeah. My name is Alan. I joined also on Monday. I used to work as application architect, mostly in the consulting companies. So I've been helping one company for the last 4 years, with a security company. So that's where I started to gain more knowledge about security and also the passion for it. What else? I'm usually working in APIs and integrations, all that stuff. So I usually work on those. I'm super excited to be here. I used to work with some of you. So yeah, I'm happy to see you again. So yeah, I'm based in Wrocław, Poland. If you want to know how my last name is spelled, it's like Paruszewski. Yeah, but it's hard. So no worries, you can use Alan, my second official name. But if you want to use Polish name, it's Maciej. So it's also, it's also for you. Okay, so glad to be here, glad to see you all. I already saw you on some YouTube videos, so I kind of know some of you, and I can, assign the voice to the picture, but yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Welcome to the team. So you're gonna have to give us all of David's secrets, since you've worked with him in the past.
Yeah, we don't have secrets.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm an open book and direct, so
yeah.
I don't know if there's any secrets.
Cool. Is Savas on just yet?
Sounds like Savas is having some Wi-Fi struggles.
Okay.
So moving, and if he gets to join, we will skip back to agenda item 1 when he gets here.
That's good. No worries. If not, we'll catch him. We'll catch him next time. So as folks already know, we've changed the team names for Defend. So I think David has some notes on this too. So I'll give you my summary and then turn it over to David to add additional details. So there's a thing called a section, and there's a thing called a stage. So a stage is a part of the product, like monitor, or secure or defend, such as what we work on. A section is more of a grouping of teams. So previously we had a section called secure with a stage called secure in it, and a section called defend with a stage called defend. So one thing to change is we now have one section, which I believe is right now called secure and defend, which is a placeholder name for something else later, which is going to be one word. And we still have 2 different stages, secure and defend. And with many of the same focuses, but also some changes. So we've named also the sub-teams a little differently underneath the defend stage. One is threat insights, and the other is threat management. I like those names. I think they're more descriptive than previous ones. Threat insights is around, well, actually, threat management is around what we do in terms of implementing security controls inside Kubernetes. It's probably not it's probably too limiting of a description, but it's things like web app firewall, container network security, container behavior analytics, which we're going to do in the future. And then threat insights is discovering and managing threat information, such as vulnerability management, which we're actively working on with first-class vulnerabilities, user, entity, and behavior analytics, which we've talked about starting and started investigating, and also responsible disclosure, which we haven't, this team hasn't looked into yet. So same people, both in development and in product management, but different, some slightly different focus. To focus on things that are more important to customers. We kind of reshuffled there, and also some different names. I don't know, David, what do you have to add to that? Did I capture all the key things appropriately?
For the most part, the teams are threat insights and container security. So I just kind of crossed off your item and wrote the name there. But besides that, I think you got everything else right. So like for number 5, the background for those who are not aware, we're going through our FY21 budgeting, and that started in October and just finished last week. So I can't do math quick in my head, but that sounds like it was like 4 or 5 months to plan out the budget for this year. But where we landed was what was announced last Monday. So if you were not on either of the calls that Eric Johnson did, I linked to it there so you can read through the announcement of the budget being finalized. Now, with that said, Wayne's right. So the section name is Secure and Defend. I'm told that we will have a uphill battle to pick a word that everybody agrees on. So I kind of consider that the temporary permanent name, in so much as that it'll probably be weeks of us going back and forth to pick a name that the e-group, the board, and we like for the section. The other thing is that Wayne mentioned the rename. I included the group mission statement. I asked the PMs to write for their areas, so you can read that as well. And then Wayne got all the movements right. I think the thing that is last there to highlight is we are actually removing DDoS protection and RASP as categories of focus. I'm not saying we won't come back and do them. However, the goal of merging us into one section, as well as working the budget the way they did, they want us to be really focused on bringing several things to viable or complete maturity first, and add depth to the security offerings. And that's feedback from our customers, as well as from industry leaders that we have done briefings on our portfolio. Also with that, as Wayne said, we actually only have 2 groups instead of 3 groups. Originally, the plan was to have 3. Well, eventually we'll probably add the 3rd one back in, but right now, as Wayne said, we want to be very focused on the high-level objectives. For Defend, I don't think any of them will come as a surprise, but first is getting first-class vulnerabilities, also known as our vulnerability management, to a minimal or viable level this year. I know we've been knocking on the door of minimal for a while, so hopefully we'll get that out and then can focus on moving to viable. UEBA, and that's the thing that Wayne just highlighted as well. So that's focusing on behavioral anomalies within our application on behalf of our customers, so they know if something is going weird with one of their users. And then container network security and the things that go with that. So we renamed threat detection to container behavior analytics to be a nice play on the UEBA term in the industry. And that'll be us focusing on anomaly behavior within our customers' applications. So that way we're providing visibility across their entire tech stack, whether it's using our app or deploying their applications into production.
So I do have a question, David. This is good. So are you ready for the Defend vision discussion we have scheduled for Monday?
No, I was going to recommend we move it out.
Okay.
I'd like to get the direction page updated, which is now that everything's done, that can be my focus. And then we can do it off of the updated direction page.
That'd be good. We have 2 people starting in early April, so maybe we do it after then so they can participate live rather than watch the recording. Sound good?
Sure, that works fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But in the meantime, if anybody has any questions about this stuff, you can ask now or you can ask offline. We're pretty much an open book here at GitLab, so there's really nothing I can't really answer, depending on how direct you are with your question. Like if Philippe said, how much does Wayne make? I can't answer that question because 1, I don't know, and 2, that's not his business. But things related to the direction I can answer.
So I had a question in terms of what we'd be looking for something like new direction or acquisition targets, something that we'd want to invest in without just like our current direction, people power. And if that was something we're exploring right now.
It actually is. So we've been meeting with companies over the last several months to be potential acquisition targets. Right now, I can share there's nothing that we're directly looking at for Defend. We did explore one or two options, and those just didn't pan out the way we wanted them to pan out. But I will say that one person that we've been actively talking to, and I won't say the name because we want to post this to YouTube, but we're talking to about partnering and providing some of the items that I just removed from our roadmap as a partner. And so that allows us to extend what Defend is doing. This team would be responsible for supporting that from an integration standpoint. Obviously, as we talk about central logging, bring the logging back into a view that is GitLab as well, but extending what we're doing into areas that either we're now defocusing on or areas that we just never had on our roadmap as a whole. And there are probably 2 or 3 companies, Lucas, that fall into that category that we're talking to right now.
One thing we didn't nominate a scribe. So I guess everybody's going to put their own notes in for folks that didn't make it. So just a quick reminder to put the summary of the those who speak of in the notes. That'd be great. Good question, though, Lucas. Definitely. Any other questions on these topics? I know we've been just talking about this via Slack and other spot discussions over the last week or so, but it's good to get us all together and discuss it. Any other thoughts? Cool. Philippe, you've got the next item.
Yeah, thanks, man. Quick reminder or opening a discussion on that on the calendar events. If you create an event in the Defend calendar, no one is actually invited, so it's actually a free slot in your calendar. So that's a great way for recruiters, for example, to schedule something like an interview during this exact same time. So I tend to copy these kind of events to my calendar, leading to some funny outcomes, like I'm joining a call and I'm all by myself, realizing that the actual event has been rescheduled to some later date or something like that. And it's kind of a mess actually to manage. So I'm asking if we can, when we create something in a different calendar, also invite the people that should be there. That's going to be easier to manage, at least on my side. And I'm sure I'm not the only one on that boat.
So specifically, you recommend inviting, if I understand it, inviting the Defend stage, and then any of the people that very likely need to be there as required, and anybody on the team that is optional, either they find it on the Defend stage calendar or invite them as optional?
Yeah, for example, if on the topic I want to brainstorm with
so maybe let's take out that
Lucas.
last section. If they're required, if they really are needed to be there, not that any meeting is required at GitLab, but add them as required. Otherwise, people can find it on Defend stage. So not this optional thing.
Yes.
Okay.
We also publish that to the Defend calendar for visibility and transparency. So that if you want to join, you're free to join, but we should invite the people that should be there. For example, this meeting, we should invite all the attendees. Otherwise, if they don't copy that to their calendar, the slot is going to be seen as free for anyone outside of the team. That's the problem.
Lucas and Lindsay, you have some comments?
We're busy being witty in the chats. So I have been not adding individuals unless I know someone really should be there. I think what would make this a lot easier is to create a Defend DL or mailing list, and I can take the action item to do that. For some reason, I was adding the Defend stage calendar as an invitee, which I don't know if that does anything at all. So.
Yeah, I think maybe 2 distros, one for threat insights and one for container
One for each
security.
group.
Yeah, and a lot of
Yeah,
people.
but there's no way to invite a group in Google Calendar. That's the problem. You have to invite individuals.
You can't create a G Suite distribution list and assign that to the
The
meeting invite?
invitees?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I
How
think
does
you
that
can,
work? If
'cause I think-
someone clicks I can join and someone clicks I can't join, how does that work? It's
no,
going
'cause
to expand the
it
group?
expands when it sends it out, so it ends up in everybody's calendar. I'm
So
pretty
that's
sure
new.
because there's other meetings I'm in that I think are set up that way.
We used to have a company called Go To Everyone in the Company, and I highly doubt someone was adding every single name to that. So there must be some trick somewhere.
All right, so that's new because believe me, we've been looking for that for a while, and that wasn't there. All right, that's good. So let's use that.
So in the meantime, until we get invites cleaned up to have those mailing lists, please make sure you check the Secure Stage calendar. Until further notice, please continue to copy invites into your personal calendar. Sorry, I'm waking up. Words are hard.
I would actually, my amendment to that is I think it's a bit easier if you invite yourself to the event when you edit it. That way, if the event changes and someone updates it, then you don't have an orphaned one on your calendar, which I've experienced too many times.
Thanks, Lucas. That you put that in here in the notes, and that makes a lot of sense. So instead of copying it, just go in and hit edit and add yourself, and then it should send you an invite.
Yeah, but you need to let the attendees update the event. It's not always the case. I've seen that also. Some events are kind of read-only for attendees. When you create an event, there's an option for that.
To make it editable. Yeah, it should be in your onboarding materials. It should tell you to make that the case by default. And if you haven't, please do. So every time I create an invite, it already is editable.
See, by default, when I create an event, guest permissions, I can't modify the event.
There's a setting in your email, Philippe, that'll make that your default every time you create an event.
I don't know.
I promise. I'll find you instructions. I'll make it my personal mission when I wake up in the morning.
It would be a huge help if everybody sets that setting that Lindsay's talking about. I don't know if we can default it on for the company, but it is nice if you have modify event enabled so you can move a shared meeting without needing to go back to the original person to move it.
Yeah, actually, it's right there.
Other thing to note, just a reminder, all GitLab meetings are optional all the time for everyone. If you can't make it, that's why we record them, whether they're on YouTube or internally accessible. We always take really good notes, put questions and comments before the meeting, if you so choose, and afterwards read the notes and or watch the recording. So I know we often have meetings at times that don't work for people with all the different time zones we operate on and how busy everyone is and how we're trying to keep everybody focused and have fewer context switches. So, definitely take that to heart. That is not just what we say, it is what we do.
And on that note, I dragged Savas away from something that he was working very hard on to come to this meeting that was optional for him because we wanted to get a chance to introduce him. So Savas also started last Monday on the front end team. Savas, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us where you're at, what you do with your free time, and what company you were at before this.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. So I'm in Zurich, Switzerland. I joined as a front-end engineer. And yeah, this is my 7th day. It's actually exactly 7th day. I was actually having a lot of problems with my Mac's Wi-Fi. It's not connecting to my Wi-Fi connection, network, so I'm struggling with that one. But I already submitted my first merge request. It's not complete, it's work in progress. So yeah, previous to GitLab, I was working for Tutti. It's a company like eBay, an online marketplace in Switzerland, pretty actively used. We had roughly 15 million user sessions. It's a lot for Switzerland if you consider that we in Switzerland are only 8 million people. Yeah, and during my free time, I try to do some sports, spend some time with my wife, my family. Just had a baby. She's 5 months old, Mila, her name, and we have a dog. He's Cookie, 2 years old.
Welcome, Savas.
Thank you.
So our front-end team tripled in size last week, and we're very excited about it.
Definitely.
Cool.
I already met Alan. He joined last week with us. Actually, the first MR we worked together on it. It was pretty nice. He did the backend side. I did the front end side. So that was a nice teamwork.
Neat.
Alan, yeah. if he's here, I don't know. I
Yeah,
can see.
Alan and Alexander got
Yeah.
to introduce themselves at the beginning. Sorry, Stella. So we wanted to make
Okay,
sure.
I'm sorry, I
Didn't
missed
want
it.
to speak
Yeah.
for you.
No worries.
Yeah.
So I think last two items, at least we have in the notes is, so we're not going to mention the candidate's name because they haven't announced it themselves yet at their current company, but we have a new back-end engineering manager starting in early April. More details to be shared later, but that's great. We've been working hard to interview folks. Thanks Lindsay and Philippe and Lucas, and I know Thomas is not on, but Thomas and Matt, of course, in helping us to do all the interviewing. So that actually leaves us with all our positions filled. So everybody who's going to be on the team with the current budget has started or is starting in April. So we have one back-end manager, as I mentioned, and then one back-end engineer who accepted a while ago, but is not starting until April, starting, I think that back-end engineer is in Germany, if I remember correctly, and the manager is in Sydney, Australia, and comes highly recommended, is a big user of GitLab already at his current company, and comes highly recommended from 2 engineers on Secure, who he has worked with.
So we have
Christopher,
all
not
the
that?
time zones. Sorry, we have all the time zones covered, I guess. We have from
Quite a few.
Hawaii to Sydney. Yeah.
Yep. We have, let's see, Sydney, Honolulu, all 4 time zones, I think, in North America, US and Canada in particular. Then Germany, Switzerland, Poland, and I'm missing someplace.
Who's in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Daniel on the
Oh,
front end team.
I think we need to do visiting grants.
I think so. So yeah, all over the place. Did I mention New Zealand? If I didn't mention New Zealand, apologies, Arthur, who's out hiking. Cool. Last topic we got on the list, Lindsay.
Yeah, that's a good segue to the last item. Is there anyone that it's like 4 o'clock for right now? Is there any objections to potentially moving this meeting back an hour so it's not at 7 a.m. for myself and Lucas? I see a bunch of nods and thumbs up. I don't see any no.
Yeah, I think originally it didn't work for the PM folks, not by time zone, but by other meetings. I know,
David, Matt.
Matt and Sam in
Sam.
particular. I know, David, you don't come to this very often. Would moving this back an hour work okay for you guys?
I'm fine with that change.
So,
It's only once a month at this time. Every other week it's APAC friendly. So we have it in the afternoon. I think it's 2 p.m. PST. So it's just once a month. And I know I'm sounding really whining that I get up at 7 in the morning once a month.
the only concern I see with moving it an hour is that puts it right on top of the group conversation meetings. And those again are of course optional. And I had the defend one moved to Monday, so it wouldn't conflict with any other meetings. But we just have to be cognizant of that because I think I personally enjoy attending them to hear what's going on in other parts of the company. That'd be the only concern I can think of. If you did it by an hour and a half, then you'd be after the group conversation and the company call is no longer at that time. So that time slot seems to be open for everybody.
The 90
So
minutes,
even-
new proposal.
Even a half hour is late is better for me than 7. It's just the sun's not even up here right now.
So proposal is 90 minutes. Any objections to 90 minutes later for this
Dallas,
meeting?
I'm looking at you because that makes it like 6 p.m. for you, I think, doesn't it?
No problem at all. It's okay for me.
And
Okay.
Alan and Mihal, it works for you guys too?
Same here.
Seeing a
I
thumbs up.
appreciate it. We can adjust after, the first month or two goes by. I will be a lot more conscious and able to contribute really normal thoughts. Thank you.
Great, and that's the last thing we had on the agenda. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great week. Cheers.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
And Philippe, you're going to post, right? You got the post job? I think Philippe dropped already.
He will.
He will.
Yeah.